Welcome to episode 332 of the Overlook Hour. I'm your host, Clark Little. Along with me, as always, is the man sitting in San Bruno, California. It's Russell John, the Fisherman.
What up? What up, dude, man?
What's the weather in San Bruno? What am I missing?
That's nice. It's boring. Nothing to report.
Did it rain this week? I heard it rained.
It did. Yeah.
How many days?
It was raining, man. Also, we just talked about this. You went outside to record, and now your internet is acting up.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, just a little. Well, I think we're fine, but
Okay. Well, if it gets any worse, I'll go back inside. I'm recording here from sunny Phoenix, Arizona. I almost said Phoenix, California, where it's I think it's gonna get in the mid 90s today, but it's nice here, and I've got a nice little covered patio because they appreciate my patronage at this hotel. So they give me the nicest room on the 7th floor. Also, boys and girls update, they finally have food in the club lounge. So
Okay.
I'm living like a human up here now.
what the hell is the club lounge?
Well, it's for very special people such as myself. On the 7th floor, we have access to a secret room. Inside said secret room, we get little treats at 2 different times of the day, like a mental institution.
It's like a daycare. They make you take a nap and eat a Danish.
Precisely. Yeah, so at breakfast they've got, and it's not great, but they'll have like oatmeal in a pot with some freshly cut fruit, some muffins they bought at I'm going to say a gas station down the street, and there's a cappuccino machine.
Oh,
So I'll make myself an Americano.
Hell yeah.
And then in the evening, they'll bring out that same pot and then some sort of sauce. So last night, the treat in the club lounge was egg rolls with plum sauce.
oh.
Ew.
I feel like you'd be into that.
I had, let's call it 45% of an egg roll.
Oh,
It was all right. Then they'll have a veggie tray and then hummus and ranch.
oh my God. Okay, I regret asking about the food in the clubhouse. You win.
Just saying, dude. Clubhouse.
Hummus is
So-
dank, though.
I also keep hummus in my refrigerator. Also joining us is Oksana Valerianova Osachi. Oksana.
Your energy level dropped when you hit that sunlight. I don't know what happened to you.
My energy level was, I told y'all my energy level was low today.
Low
So
tea,
it-
bro.
So was my tea.
Same.
And from Atlanta, Georgia, it's Randy Michael Stat. Randy,
That's me. What's up?
what'd you do yesterday?
Well, we recorded yesterday, but besides that,
Spoiler alert.
I went
Randy's
record
the
shopping
spoiler.
before we recorded yesterday, which was fun.
Oh, what'd you pick up? The new Adele?
No, I got
I have no
this band called Wet Leg. I got their new LP. They're from the UK. Very just like fun, like post-punk.
Is that like the saying that Judge Judy wrote a book about? Don't wet my leg and tell me it's raining.
Sure. Yeah.
What the deep cut right there? Are you reading Judge Judy books?
Yeah, what was the name of her book? Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining.
I didn't know she had a book. I'm going to have to pick that up.
Yeah, somebody look that up. Oksana, look up what Judge Judy's book was. I think that's what it's
She's
called.
got a couple.
Yeah, she's got a few books, dude.
Let's see.
Any on tape.
She's got one called You're Smarter Than You Look. She's also got Don't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining.
There we go.
Huh.
She's also got Win or Lose. I can't read who cares? I'm not going to read these.
How about Beauty Fades Dumb as Forever?
Okay.
I like Judge Judy.
She's performative.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want her. If I were brought in shackles into a courtroom and the judge before me who was going to decide my fate was her, I don't know if I'd feel great.
Now, wait a minute. Randy, was yesterday record store day?
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to when record store day is for a couple years now because it's usually always just kind of crowded and I don't know. It's not a fun time to go record shopping for me.
On the 23rd.
Oh, it's next weekend.
Yeah,
I knew it was always around like mid-April, but I think COVID, like, sort of curbed that enthusiasm, and maybe we got it's less chaotic. Because man, it became a zoo the past like few years.
Yeah, you got to get there like before stores open too. Which I'm an early riser, but I don't know. It's not my idea of a good time.
Yeah, I'm with you.
God, y'all need some testosterone shots or something. Y'all so low energy. Today is the beautiful day of the Lord. It is Easter.
He is risen. Sunday.
Clarkson Phoenix, I'm looking for you to come out of the ashes, brother. You need to come out with a new you. It's 2022, new you, Clark rising from the ashes in Phoenix. Also, that's a pledge to everybody listening to the show. It's only getting better from here. It's a new leaf.
Yesterday, I went swimming for the first time in years, and I think I'm just wrecked.
Does swimming, to use that verb, do you have to do more than just float in a pool? Because that's what I imagine you doing.
Girl, I did laps.
Oh, shit. What was your mode of choice? We doing a breaststroke, doggy paddle?
What's I don't know. What's the one where you don't look like an asshole?
Oh, that you could pull off? I don't know, dude.
Easy.
What watch were you wearing in the pool?
No, I did laps doing dog paddling.
Okay. What did you wear a watch?
I'm a good swimmer.
Do you have a waterproof watch for the pool?
Okay. If you have a nice watch, all watches are waterproof, dude.
Oh shit. Now, did you double down on that and take a dive?
However, having said that, I don't wear them in the water because I'm a gentleman.
All right. Well, I like to measure character on what people leave outside of the pool when they get in. I imagine you left a pair of Ray-Ban, a watch, which was overpriced, yet, it screams that you're trying to present a higher cultural platitude than you actually have achieved in life. Then probably no towels or anything, probably not a wallet, a pack of cigarettes, a lighter with a little fuel left. And am I missing anything? I mean, if this was last year, I think I would have said a vape, but I don't think he had a vape.
Threw the vape away. Traded the vape for the cigs. Went fully analog.
Fuck yeah!
This was a good guess. I did not have the cigarettes down there. I did have the Ray-Bans. I did not have a wallet. And now the watch was this watch. So I mean, this is my sport watch. So you would be correct had I worn my Swiss watch down there, but I'm not going to do that because I value my Swiss watch.
Fuck yeah. This is why I fuck with you, dude. You got it going on.
How about one of those calculator watches?
I have thought about getting one of those.
Really?
100%. There's also Timex has a special edition Pac-Man calculator watch that I have almost gotten multiple times.
Do you get that in like a cereal box, or how do you get that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Don't look that up. I don't know. Did you do anything in Arizona? What have you been going to the movies, or like you just chilling in the clubhouse?
I went to Target when I got here. And that's about it. I got drunk at Outback.
Fuck yeah.
And bought some cigarettes.
All right. Well,
went to the weed store.
Ooh, they have one out there?
Yeah, right across the street, baby.
Huh. Oh, I didn't realize Arizona was legal.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have the same vibe as California, where it's like you can tell that like the federal government's all over them, so everything is perfectly clean?
Well, I think that the vibe of marijuana is pretty universal.
I don't know. The culture is like a blacklight poster with Bob Marley, but when you go into those shops, you don't see that. It almost looks like a high-end club.
Well, I would say that's a general smoke shop.
Yeah, yeah.
Vibe, but
so you think it's like the cigar culture?
Well, most dispensaries are laid out like jewelry stores.
For sure. Yeah.
And I don't necessarily like that.
And they close early a lot of times too.
Yeah, they don't look around.
Yeah, I don't know. we have become spoiled in our area because we get delivery marijuana,
Yeah.
which I think is the best way to go. You
Well,
click a button and then a nerd comes and gives you a little baggie.
yeah, I know. It's fucking DoorDash is ruining our life. So, I'm not going to mention it later, but I did this week. We went out to the Alamo. I got one of those dreaded phone calls that you two would ignore, where we just got out of a meeting for a 5 virtual, details pending. But I got a call at like 9:30 where somebody's like, "Dude, you going to Weird Wednesday? Let's go." And I'm like, "Oh," and you guys know that's like my Achilles tendon right there. And I was on the phone with Oksana. We're live discussing whether we want to do this. And I'm just laying it all out there. So we ended up going. I had never heard of the fucking movie Virtuosity. Do you two both know it?
With Denzel.
Yeah. And Russell Crowe.
Where have you been, dude?
I don't know. But I was like, wait, it's a cyberpunk movie with like Denzel and Russell Crowe? I'm like, oh we got to go.
Yeah, won the Academy Award for most bitchin' film of the night.
Now my problem and why I'm bringing it up now is, dude, the Alamo, they've got a pretty good culture. There's like 40 to 50 people that will come out there to a fucking late night screening of, apparently everybody and their mom knows about this fucking movie and has seen it.
It's Denzel.
I get it. It's also campy as fuck. And for a cyberpunk movie, I thought it didn't have a lot of great ideas. But they do go to like.
Neither does your game, Cyberpunk.
Hey, that's a very fair point. They do go to a UFC event where the audience is like chanting like they're a fucking Street Fighter crowd. There's a lot of weird shit in this movie.
Was Rogan there in a cameo appearance?
I think it was 95. So I think it might have been.
Was Cameo there as a cameo appearance?
Oh my God, dude. It was a print too, and So the homie that showed it was I talked to him after and I'm like, where the fuck did you keep it? He's like, well, I had it, in my garage. And I'm like, can you do that in the Bay Area? Like our climate is so terrible. He's like, hey, that's a good point. You really have to find a dry place to keep it. It's almost like a fine wine or something.
Well, hop on down to Arizona, baby.
Yeah, right? Maybe we should do that. We'll start buying films off eBay.
That's right.
We'll ship them out to you.
Arizona, great for 35s, terrible for your skin.
I'd be afraid they'd catch on fire in Arizona.
Oh my God.
Just rent a.
You know what's not catching on fire in Arizona? The economy, creativity.
Oh my
reason
God.
for existence.
Well,
this is a weird place. I hate it.
Well,
good
stop
donuts.
going back there.
Good donuts.
Oh hell yeah!
I've had a couple good breakfast burritos, but not any good regular burritos.
All right.
I don't know what's going on with the Mexican population down here, dude. They just don't work hard down here. What happened?
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I haven't had
Texas would have better Mexican food than California.
There's no good taquerias down here, dude. Also, there's this weird chain, and I keep getting mixed messages from the locals down here, whether they are all connected. But there are like 5 or 6 different fast food restaurants that end in Bertos. There's like Filibertos, Area Bertos, Julio Bertos,
Camel Toes.
They're all horrible.
Wait, you must have not have heard me. I said camel toes.
I did, and I powered through.
I mean, it's good. I feel a spin-off podcast coming on. All right. Well, when we circle back to food, I feel like it's time to start. Randy, do you want to throw in anything? What have you been doing? Nothing?
Not much. No. Just the record shopping yesterday. And this morning I went on a long walk, got my 10,000 steps in, and had a coffee and listened to a podcast. And now we're here.
Good for you.
That's a good day.
I went grocery shopping too. That's about it.
I maybe took 10 steps yesterday.
And the noose was 15, so try again tomorrow.
We had a dense fog warning here this morning.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You missed those, don't you?
Yeah, that's funny because I walked outside after seeing the warning. I was like, It's not that foggy compared to San Francisco Bay Area fog, especially where.
Native California you're speaking to over here.
Yeah.
Dude, we get so much fog out here, you can film it.
Yeah.
Think about that, because fog always looks cool. You try and take a picture and you're like, where'd it go? The camera
Right.
just can't see it. Not out here. All right. Well, even though neither of you are in California right now, we still brought out David Lynch. You ready to have him in?
Yep.
Hey, I was thinking if we had like an active website, we could do a thing where we had like David Lynch bingo. We call it like Bingo Lynch or something. And we could do like coffee or like the weekend train, and every week people could play along. And I thought that sounds like no fun.
Yeah, hear me out. Or we could not do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. The thing is, I want to kind of pressure him to change it up a little bit. And I'm worried, even though it's Easter, he won't fucking mention it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if he's going to say anything about Easter.
Dude, he ignores holidays, and I don't know if he's just trying to be like neutral and chill with everybody. I get it, but I mean, it's kind of like a cultural thing.
Unless he combines Easter with, peace and things like that.
Yeah, Easter in Ukraine. Unless he can draw the two together. Unless he dug up a picture of the Easter bunny on the front line. I don't know. What, do you think he's going to go political again?
I'm still going to say no.
All right.
No, but he's not going to mention Easter. There's no way.
Okay, no Easter, no political. Are we going to have coffee and cookies and shit? Or are we playing with plaster? What are we doing?
I don't know. He may mention Laura Dern.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Why?
He might not mention Easter, but there is that segment in Inland Empire where he has rabbits.
Oh, dude.
That's true.
Yeah, rabbits are important to him.
Yeah,
I'm sick
so
of the
maybe.
rabbits.
All right, Randy, you think he's going to mention the bunny?
I think he might.
All right, well, all right, let's bring him in. It's weird when we talk about him and he's just standing out there. All right.
Good morning. It's April 17, 2022, and it's a Sunday. Day 2 of weekend projects, and the Fun Work train is traveling continuously. But it's very difficult to enjoy
Oh, no.
the fun work when so many in the world are suffering.
Oh, God, dude.
God.
Let's hope very soon the Fun Work train can travel anywhere and find no suffering and find only a world at peace.
What a boring train.
Everyone, have a great day.
Travel to Easter Island. All right. Wow. Did he even mention coffee?
No.
No.
No, he went right into the politics.
How boring is a peaceful train?
I'm in.
What good train movie have you seen where everything was normal? No. By the
Well,
way, that Brad Pitt Tokyo train movie looks awesome.
What? Brad Pitt Tokyo?
Yeah, it's something. He's on a train and he's an assassin.
Does he play
And-
Japanese in it?
Does he play Japanese?
I wasn't going to say anything.
What, like a Stratocaster?
Wait,
It's kind of
hold
like
on.
ScarJo in that anime that they did live action.
Oh,
Also, a Strat
in
and
is
a
not...
ghost in the show.
No. Rewind. Stratocasters are not Japanese. You're thinking of Ibanez, bro.
No, but I'm just saying. No, you play Japanese like you play a Stratocaster. I'm not
Oh,
saying
I got you.
Stratocasters
Okay.
are Japanese.
Be very careful. I'm a huge guitar fan. I
Is
love wielding
Ibanez
an axe.
Japanese?
Yeah.
I
Is
thought it was Icelandic.
All right, go ahead, check it, Randy. The only goddamn time Randy does any production work is whenever I say anything, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know about that."
I always thought it was Latin.
Watch, now I'm gonna be fucking wrong.
No, it's Japanese.
Okay, thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I
know everything, dude.
I didn't even know Z was in the Japanese alphabet. That's cool.
That's why they call it kanji. Fuck
What? Idiot.
Kanji. Wait, something's happening. Oh, we have a news update, Clark.
Breaking news.
We have a news update because I don't have a stinger for mailbag or female bag. We don't
Yeah.
gender the evil way. We
You've only
do the-
had 2 years. to procure a stinger
I mean, who knew?
for
who
a
knew
segment we
this?
do once every 6 months.
Yeah, on the equinox, when it lines up with the lunar eclipse, we get some mail. We actually got a couple this week. Ghost from the past, longtime friend, and he's been on the podcast before. Mr. Mickey from the Three Friends shot us an email.
Oh, he's alive. He has risen.
He's risen, dude. Easter, dude. All right, he writes, "Hey, gang. Anyone who's listened to the show for a period of time will know that what Clark said is absolutely correct. Russell is a major contrarian. But in the case of Night's End, he's right on the money. This movie rules, and I do not understand the negative response at all. It definitely descends into silliness occasionally, especially when the live stream climax. But Reader does a good job making sure the goofier characters don't detract from the direness of the protagonist's situation. Ooh. I also appreciate that she took the opportunity presented by COVID to tell a story about something else. We all know what it feels like to be cooped up and isolated, even if we don't have the issues of agoraphobia and whatever else may be trapping our lead. And content creation as a failed attempt at socialization hits harder than I might want to admit. But what I do know, I love the Innkeepers. Miss you guys, and was sad to miss it was the same weekend as the Three Friends Alberto's bachelor party, but I look forward to next month's live stream. Oksana, keep it real. Randy, see you in the funny pages. Your pal Mickey. And again, for those who aren't familiar with Alberto, he's the one who voiced
Rusty.
Nope,
Rusty.
not that one. Nope.
God.
Where the fuck did it go? See, this is the problem. I'm the mailman. I have to bring the mail in from outside, and I'm trying to run the board. We need to do some budgetary stuff. Here we go. Here's Alberto. What? Go ahead.
We keep adding more people to the show, yet
Yet they don't help.
correct.
Okay, here we go. Here's Alberto.
Fuck Randy.
There we go. That's what he's famous for.
Well, also, I mean, I feel like, why didn't Alberto have his bachelor party at our film festival? That's all I'm saying.
Dude, we could have facilitated that. It would have been
100%.
great.
I just think that that's sort of a bitch move on their part. So,
Also, Mickey, thanks for the email. And you know what it is, dude. Whenever you have a fan of film theory and a very highbrow, hyper intelligent person like Jennifer Reeder, the plebs just don't get it, dude. And at the end of the movie, we are dealing with something that I think is a representation of someone who's completely immersed in online reality. And he's built a conspiracy, and everybody's in on it by the end of that film, except they're laughing at him. And I think, the representation of terrible CGI really offers us, the audience, a chance to join the conspiracy. And we sit there and we laugh at the film. I think it's a fantastic film. And clearly, you need an IQ of like 500 to enjoy The Innkeepers and Night's End. So me, you, Mickey, it's just me and you against the world.
what about the wraparound in VHS 94?
Well, clearly she was drunk that day and didn't understand found footage. It's okay. We all make mistakes. Again, it's Easter. You're in Phoenix. It's rebirth. That's our theme today.
He has risen.
Okay. Anyway, love you, Mickey. And we got another email. This one from the buddy Tony from the Blob Show. He writes, "High praise for the ultra niche Hombres de lo Desert. I hope the segment survives to the gunfighter and 40 guns." Now, I think I slaughtered that. Let me check in with our correspondent.
Ombre dans le désert.
Yeah, I fucked that up. The full Walsh car accident story. Now, he's referring to Raoul Walsh, the director of the last film I talked about. What the hell was the name of it? Pursued. And how he lost his eye. And the book I was reading failed to even address it. Again, it was like, what, in the 1920s, he got into a car accident. Tony writes, the full Walsh car accident story is that he was filming in old Arizona, and while driving through the desert at night, scared a jackrabbit with his headlights, causing it to leap through the windshield and take his right eye. Now, I'm not sure if Tony's fucking with us there, but I really hope that's real.
I'd buy that for $1.
Dude, Clark, be careful, man. If you're in an Uber, dude, make sure they're not scaring jackrabbits out there. He continues, Walsh also famously stole John Barrymore's corpse and propped it up in Errol Flynn's living room as a practical joke. If Russell's enjoying his book for a tour theory, I can't recommend more. Peter Bogdanovich's interview book, Who the Devil Made It. Great work as usual. Love you guys. Tony from the Blob Show in Arizona. P.S. Randy reviewed Thirst Street in episode 92, saying of it, not a great name. We found this review to be true in episode 238, to be true 238 episodes later. That I was listening to 92 this week is otherworldly coincidence. Thirst Street is that fucking flight attendant movie I couldn't remember the name of, where she falls in love with somebody on the road. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's called fucking Thirst Street, and thank you, Tony, for pointing that out. I put it on a list. I plan on watching it, although now I do remember Randy was like, meh.
It's good.
But you know what?
You bastard. You just had to say the complete opposite.
The lead in it is also in the Midnight Swim.
Yes.
Okay, what?
Lindsay Burge.
She looked familiar, so I looked her up.
I can't help it. Whenever the producers team up, I feel like I'm in a corner. I'm like, all right, fine.
That's just a fun fact.
I know, and I do want to watch it. That name is fucking terrible. There, now we can talk about how terrible that name is 3 times. Yeah, again, if you want to write an email, it's overlookhour@gmail.com.
Yay. Yes.
It feels wrong. We're cutting out 2 words. It's half of the fucking title of the
They're
show.
Unnecessary words.
The and podcast?
There we go.
All right. Well, as I continue to hijack this show, what do we have next? My computer just crashed. Oh, yeah. We have a segment. Now, as I'm building fans for this Western noir thing, it's a struggle, right? It's like, what am I going to do next? So flip a coin and we'll find out.
The TBR report.
I'm sorry. I wanted to warn you, but then I thought it would be funny if I didn't. And the visual gag that happened when Clark leaped at his microphone to jump in there, it was good for 3 people who could see you. So it really paid off. This week, it's going to be short. The TBR is back, but not really. Last we heard from Thomas Burke, he went to Barbados to find some footage. I haven't heard from him. He hasn't written an email for this week, which is really weird too. But I did get a text with a link. It was a YouTube link to a film called Godforsaken from 2020. I believe, what was it on? Kings of Reality? Is that the channel that we watch it on?
Kings of Horror.
Kings of Horror. They do
Kings of Leon.
Kings of Leon. Kings of Horror, they're weird. They're like a distribution company that is literally just a channel on YouTube, and they'll premiere full movies. And I think, like, I don't know, I haven't talked to anybody from that company, if you can call it that, but
We could do that bullshit.
Yeah, it feels kind of like a grift too. Like it's like, people are making independent horror films all the time. And if they can't get distribution, they come to Kings of Horror to put it out on YouTube because they have an audience. And I get that could kind of work, but I don't know, man. It feels like they're kind of taking advantage of them. Anyway, Godforsaken from 2020 is there if you want to find it. This film is fucking bonkers, for lack of a better phrase. We open up with the dude. He's driving in a car, and he goes, all right, haven't been here in a while. Let's go. He gets out. It's a church. And of course I planned this because it was Easter. And he gets out. In the churches, it's hard to read the mood. It feels a little somber, but there's a lot of people. It kind of looks like a wedding or something. I don't know. We get in there. People are mourning. There's a casket, and it's open. Beautiful, large church. And I'm going to go ahead and, I'll just give you the beginning of this movie. The casket tips over, and people start screaming, and they start...
Coffin flop?
Dude, coffin flop, dude. Although she wasn't naked, and she didn't fall through it. Unfortunate. Real oversight by the direction. People start running out of the church. It's manic. I believe at the time the camera was outside again. Mm-hmm. We move back in through people and here's the thing. They're shooting in like a very wide open area, and people are running out in big groups. Like there's a lot of extras here, and they're panicking, but they panic like the director had said, hey, run out and panic. So they start doing that, whatever you would imagine that is. And then they just kind of keep doing it because they're still on camera. We got like a wide shot and the people can't escape the frame. So they just are kind of out there on an empty street going, oh, like in circles. It's really weird. And then we move in, still a lot of people in the church, which is impressive because these movies, you usually don't have this much support from people you're clearly not paying. Anyway, the casket has fallen and that's it. Her arm's sticking out of it. And it's like, whoa, people are panicking like this. I mean, I'm sure worse has happened. And, the panic is rewarded by the girl standing up. At this point, people just start fucking losing their shit. Man, I have a lot of notes here because there's a lot of crazy things that happen in this movie. But if this sounds like something you're into, and you got a couple friends and like a 12-pack you want to drink, dude, invite them over. It's on YouTube. It's free, and it's a lot of fun. I'll tell you that the girl gets up and she walks around, and people are screaming. They're running. Pews are getting tipped over. She goes out front, and her mom's there, and her mom is crying with her dad. The dad not as comfortable in acting as the mom, clearly. And her mom runs up and grabs her and goes, "Oh my God, you're back!" And like she's the only one here who's happy. They lock eyes and they're holding each other for a minute. And then she goes, "You're not my daughter," and starts strangling her in the doorway. This is one of the best things I've seen in a while. And the rest of the movie does not disappoint. And just if you're an indie horror fan and you're like, I don't know, I've heard about this kind of shit before. Just know that it feels like the whole town was in on this movie. There's a lot of locations. We're going into a lot of homes. We go up and down the street. We're filming fucking everywhere. It almost feels like a cult made a film about some religious shit.
Is this an American film?
Is it?
It looks like it might have been filmed in Canada.
Yeah, it looks otherworldly.
How can you tell the difference? There's assholes on horses with hats?
No, I thought I saw Ontario.
Okay, I would have went with like Erie, Indiana, one of my favorite shows growing up. It felt like Anywhere America, which is anywhere but America because it's always Canada.
Anywhere USA.
Exactly. It's north of our border. So yeah, again, all I got was a cold text from Thomas's phone. I don't even know if he sent it to me. So honestly, on the way to Barbados, he may have landed in this town. And they saw an opportunity to really have a better platform than terror films. And they're like, we're going to get it on the Overlook. So maybe I'm playing into the cult right now. I don't know. But again, Godforsaken from 2020. If you just Google Godforsaken, there are 84 different films that will pop up.
It's the one that's directed by Ali Akbar Kamal.
I forgot. My favorite Mon Calamari directed this movie. General Ali Akbar. He's made a ton of horror movies, right?
Mm-hmm. Maybe
we should get him on the show. Yeah, we're looking at his IMDb right now. But yeah, Thomas, if you're hearing this, dude, I hope you're well. We've really been looking forward to this Barbados footage you were talking about. But if you're dead, it's Easter. Hopefully you'll rise from the ashes like Clark in Phoenix, wearing a crown of thorns, covered in blood, and hopefully you got it on tape.
With an Easter basket.
With an Easter basket.
This concludes the TBR report. This concludes the TBR report.
Wow, it's kind of haunting hearing his voice after we like memorialize him.
You said very little about that film.
Yeah.
It feels a lot like The Unholy.
It's just
That's unfortunate.
Here's the thing.
But better, I think.
We watched it as like a Friday night, like, hey, we're going to hang out and watch something. Like, let's do the TBR report. We can do work and have fun. And it was a lot of fun. And I took a bunch of notes, but like my notes are like, when I was talking about like they filmed everywhere in that town, dude, they go into a movie theater and it's like it's weird. It's almost like it's a tourist town where the movie theater looks beautiful, but it looks retro. They're screening Night of the Living Dead, which is a little on the nose if you know where that movie's going. But I'm like, I don't know. I think it's more fun if people just discover it. Also, my notes consist of like dog shit, crowd cheering A, ghost eats a cat. And it's like, I just think if you walk into that movie and you're like, oh, she ate that cat, it's more exciting than me telling you.
We see a ghost eat a cat?
Well, she's locked in a basement, and she's not really a ghost. She's more like a saint. And people are like, no, we got to believe her. She's a prophet. And then they're like, she's hungry. And a dude brings a pet cat in there. Yeah. And then, dude, honestly, we got to start doing Terrell commentaries. We were watching it with him, and he was all about this bitch until she ate that cat. And then he was just like, oh, hell, did she ate that fucking cat? I ain't fucking with her. Get out of there. Like, I mean, he was right in the end. Spoiler. Anyway, yeah, I'm done hogging the show. And we all know that's not true.
All right, Randy Michael,
Yes, sir.
kick her off.
Can you fucking energize? Put a Duracell in your butt or something.
What are you talking about?
Ooh.
This is my new energy.
Dude, I hate it. I need you. Dude, I look forward to hanging out, especially when you leave the fucking state. And I'm getting like a flatline Clark right now.
Because Clark is flatlining.
Dude, I heard you jumped in a pool. That is not flatline activity. That's living life, soaking up the
It's
sun,
true.
rising from the ashes.
Well, that's why I'm dead.
Okay.
Randy.
So yeah, to bring the mood up, I've got a movie that is over 40 years old that I saw this past week. So recently I saw that the Plaza Theater out here was playing a 4K restoration of Out of the Blue, which is directed by Dennis Hopper. I was not able to go to the screening, but I was able to rent the Blu-ray from Videodrome. Shout out again. And this is a movie that he made about 10 years after the last movie. So I think it came out in like 1980 originally. And I think it's like had a pretty good reputation. And I think it's just now like sort of getting, a little more popularity. I had never seen it before, but it's really good. It feels a lot like it belongs sort of like in the world of Easy Rider. It does not feel like the last movie. It's a lot better than the last movie. The tagline for this is a harrowing drama from the director of Easy Rider. It features a young Linda Manns as the main character. She is a teenager who kind of Dennis Hopper is her ex-convict father, and her mother Kathy is essentially addicted to drugs. So she is a very young teenager, kind of like rebellious, and she kind of like gets into the punk rock scene. I think this was shot in Vancouver. So you kind of, there's a lot of, as the tagline says, there's a lot of kind of harrowing scenes with her kind of like getting into bad situations or kind of just like her bad living scenario with her mother, who's a drug addict. But there's
She
also
hot?
some, no, not really.
It's unfortunate.
But there's also some really good scenes. As I mentioned, she is very into punk rock music, and she's also very into Elvis Presley at the same time. So there's a really good scene where this band called the Pointed Sticks from Vancouver is playing. And she goes to that show, and kind of the drummer like invites her like up on stage and like gets to play a little bit of a song in the set. And it kind of just reminded me of, not that I had a hard childhood at all, pretty easy childhood, but the community in the punk rock scene I think really comes out in this movie, and it kind of seemed like it was a good place for her to be, to escape from the shit she was dealing with at home. So it definitely has a very punk rock feel. It definitely feels a little like Easy Rider. It's kind of tough. It kind of has like a neo-realistic feel to it a little bit too, but I'm not sure who put out the 4K or the new restoration on Blu-ray, but it's out there and it's available, and it's really good if you haven't seen it.
Dude, I am 100% in. Just flipping through IMDb, like their shots of it. It looks fucking beautiful, dude.
Yeah, that shot with her and Dennis Hopper in the car. It's like a beautiful looking shot. Yeah, it looks great. Restoration.
You know what we don't get enough of is like edgy filmmaking. I mean, story writing and like just storytelling, but like with people who know the craft. And man, you can make a powerful movie if you know how to like frame a shot or like direct somebody. Also, that I don't know where you read that tagline from, but the poster on IMDb, the tagline is "She's 15. The only adult she admires is Johnny Rotten." I'm in. Also, it's got a quote above it. It says, "This film is a masterpiece, Jack Nicholson."
Yeah, there is some special features on the Blu-ray, and there is just like an audio clip of Jack Nicholson saying like, "Hey, I don't, have to do this. Like, I'm not involved with the project, but I think this movie is really special. Like, you should check it out. It's directed by Dennis Hopper, has Lena Mans, blah blah blah." So that's probably where that quote came from. But yeah,
dude, I mean it. Looking through the stills, I'm fucking into this.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think you would love it.
Speaking of Jack Nicholson, have you guys seen this phenomenon that happened last month on Twitter involving Jack Nicholson?
Oh, no.
No.
There is an account on twitter.com called @Poopy'sCoffee. It's Poopies on the Strip. It says, "We all hung out in a coffee shop called Poopies up on the Strip," because that is what Jack Nicholson said in an interview. And every hour of every day, if you follow this account, the same notification will be tweeted out where it's just video of Jack Nicholson saying this.
We all hung out in a coffee shop called Poopies up on the Strip. We all hung out in a coffee shop called Poopies up on the Strip.
Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the? Why? Oh, dude, you need to get out of that apartment. That you're trapped, dude. You're on Twitter finding weird shit, man. I'm worried about you.
Sean Patrick O'Brien also follows that account.
Well, Sean from Seltzercast, he's got it going on. They played he got called onto Canadian radio to talk. We've never been called onto Canadian radio.
Yeah, but we've talked to people on 6 of the world's 7 continents. So come at me, O'Brien.
We've been banned by 5 continents. So,
and also, Oksana's only job now is to find a guest that we can talk to on Antarctica.
She has no comment, apparently.
Well, she's not working hard enough.
Anyway, Randy, I'm completely into it. I'm totally. Did you rented it?
Yeah, I rented it.
Did you like it enough to go buy it now?
I may, yeah. It's also apparently, according to Letterboxd, it's one of Mike Keegan's favorite films.
Oh, dude, Mike gets it.
Who?
Keegan. Michael Key.
He's dead to this show. He's sold out.
So besides a 40-plus-year-old movie that I watched, I also watched a movie that you probably can't see yet.
Oh, wow.
So doing a service to this podcast right now. I watched the Gaspar Noé film, Lux Æterna.
What the fuck, dude?
So this played at Cannes in 2019, I believe, and I think it just got picked up for a release, but yeah, if you're out there on the internet and have ways to find things, it's definitely available.
Oh, whoa.
Oh,
Randy, you're doing God's work on Easter Sunday, dude. You're leaking big movies. I love it.
Randy the Sleuth.
It's a short feature. It's like 51 minutes. But it features Charlotte Gainsbourg and Beatrice Dow. And they essentially, it's kind of like a faux doc, sort of. So the movie starts off in split screen of the conversation that Charlotte and Beatrice are having. Beatrice is the director of this thing that they are shooting, and Charlotte Gainsbourg is going to be in it, and it's essentially like a scene of a bunch of witches being burned at the stake. And so they're kind of talking about, the scene and sort of about filmmaking and stuff in general. And then, yeah, after, the conversation's pretty long that they have. And then essentially you get to the like sound stage that they're on where they're actually shooting this thing. And I'd say like maybe 50% of this or more is in split screen. And it's kind of hard to watch sometimes because there will be a conversation going on one side in English and another one that's going on in French with subtitles at the same time. So it's kind of like hard to pay attention to at times. But during the shoot of this scene, there's like this really like awesome looking kind of like neon-y rear projection of like the background of like these witches being burned at the stake. But a couple minutes in, the lighting tech goes wrong, and essentially everything just starts strobing in like this neon reds and greens and blues. And then they're just trying to like kind of figure out what's going on with it. And then you just get this very long, like 15-minute Gaspar Noé scene of just constant strobing, cutting back and forth to like, different split screens. And then it goes to like just one screen. It's cool. It's really cool. The strobing did kind of get to me. I don't have seizures from strobing, but it had a wild effect for sure. It's really cool. I don't know exactly like when it's going to come out or where it's going to come out, but I believe I did see that it's going to be picked up. But I don't know. It's very stylish. It's very cool to watch. I don't know if there's, a ton like story wise or plot wise here, but I don't know. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Plot's overrated.
Yeah.
Dude, you're 2 for 2 today, man. What's the name of that movie?
Lux Æterna, I think.
Okay. I think I found it.
Is
It's
it
cool.
horny?
No.
Well, then it's not a Gaspar Noé, dude.
Dude, I am completely into it. Also, I love your new segment, Randy, called Kick the Can, where you pirate movie from Cannes and then talk about it.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
What about shit can? Randy
I had
shit
the
can.
file for this film for a little while and I haven't watched it. So I watched it this weekend because I also know that his new movie Vortex is coming out soon, which sounds to be a very restrained movie when it comes to Gaspar Noé.
Boo.
Also kind of sounds like the movie Amor, which I never saw.
Oh, but
You know what I always-
the two old people that can't fuck no more?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I always say? Give me a more.
Do
Gaspar
you know who's
Noé.
in? Do you know who's in Vortex though?
No.
It's your boy, who I'm forgetting who's in it right now. It's Dario Argento.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he plays one of the main
He plays a corpse.
actors. Yeah.
Propped up by Raoul Walsh.
So yeah, look out for Lux Æterna and/or Vortex coming soon.
To a computer near you. I'm totally going to steal that. And when the FBI comes, I'll be like, dude, Randy told me to. Have
Randy-
I watched the Gaspar Noé film? Oh, Climax. I think that's the only one.
Really?
Yeah, I think
Really?
so.
You never saw Irreversible?
Nah. I don't,
You ne-
dude, I love women. So
You
I
never
really
saw Into the Void?
I don't want to see some fucking white man's representation of what torment is, raping women all over the place. Fuck that.
Gaspar Noé's in your wheelhouse, baby.
I know, and I get that all the time. I told you, whenever shit is like lined up perfectly for me, I avoid it. Because you know what
Yeah.
I'm going to do? I'm going to split hairs, and people are going to be like, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot." I'll be
Well,
like,
is
"You're
that-
right."
Is that contrarian nature?
Nah, it's rebirth day. It's Easter Sunday, baby. I'm coming back. You know what? I'm watching Gaspar Noé tonight.
Hell yeah. Also, Abby Lee from Old and the Neon Demon is in it.
Oh, dude, love a neon demon.
All right. Ready? Got anything else?
That's it.
All right. It had gotten to be Friday, and we were originally going to record on Saturday, and I had not seen anything. So I did a little binge on Friday night. I re-upped my subscription to Netflix.com because Prime Video just wasn't hacking it. I don't know, man. I haven't watched a feature on Prime in quite some time.
I think I'm there with you.
Their original programming just is not doing it for me.
I never did that.
I don't know what's going on. Although I did start a new show that they've got on there with Josh Brolin where he plays some sort of space cowboy. I don't know what's happening. I watched the first 2 episodes and I don't like it. We got Imogen Poots is in there.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. This show's dumb. We won't talk about that. What we will talk about is the 3 painfully mediocre films that I watched through the Netflix streaming application. The first I watched was a documentary about Bitcoin, baby.
Fuck yeah.
If I were to say the name Jerry Cotton, would that ring any bells for you two
No, sir.
Bitcoin fruits?
I do know Miss Jerry Cotton Candy. Jerry with an I.
Oksana, I'm going to need you to pull him in.
Who the hell is that?
You don't know Jerry Cotton Candy?
Is that a porn star?
No, she was trying out for the Spice Girls and they liked her name, so they got a different Jerry, but they fired her. She found her way in China, though, making fentanyl in giant vats. She's now in Mexico and she traffics them. She's also coming out with a noir western. Stay tuned.
So, a group of investors turned sleuths as they try to unlock the suspicious death of cryptocurrency multimillionaire Jerry Cotton and the missing $250 million they believe he stole from them.
This is the douchiest thing I've ever heard in my life. Was it money in Bitcoin? They're looking for...
So Jerry Cotton had a platform where one could sell and acquire Bitcoin. And, you know, he took a little piece off of that and had a pretty nice little business going on there. I can't remember the name of it because it's all internet bullshit and it's not words that people use. So whatever it is, look it up. Just type in Jerry Cotton with a G.
Oh.
There you go. Well, what happened is that Mr. Cotton died mysteriously at 30 years old in India. Now, the cause of death listed was Crohn's disease. So that does not happen very often. Crohn's disease, is a gastrointestinal situation, and it really does not lead to many deaths. So the fact that, one was to pass away from Crohn's disease in a foreign land like India, a lot of flags were raised. Well, what happened is that no one had the passwords to access the accounts to all of this information once Jerry passed away. And then the money went away. So apparently with Bitcoin, you've got, I believe they call it warm wallets and cold wallets. And basically, the cold wallets were all emptied out.
Oh. And
people were like, that's mysterious. That shouldn't happen.
That shouldn't be able to happen.
Yeah. So someone took $250 million from people's accounts. So the way that the story is set up, again, traditional talking head thing that they're dealing mostly with the people whose money was taken. We also get Gerald's sister-in-law, who is the sister to Gerald's wife. Now, people who knew Jerry did not know he had a wife. And so his wife is also on the short list of people that may have done the shenanigans. And then also one of the co-founders of the website, also a very colorful guy with a sketchy past. And so now this 90-minute documentary turns into like a pack of dogs on a bird hunt. They're just like going over here. Oh, that's not it. We're going over here. And we're going over here. Nope, that's not it. It's exhausting. There's no answers. It's an interesting story, but there's no reason for it even to be 90 minutes because we learn nothing. Nothing happens. They want to say he's dead. They were like, he's not dead. He faked his death. Then a journalist goes to India and a cab driver says, "Oh no, that was him." And then they're like, "Damn, he is dead." But then finally at the end of the movie, they're like, "But we haven't seen the body." Credits.
Fuck yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Y'all didn't think about digging up the goddamn body in the first place?
Well, you know what happened to him.
What?
He got set up by that journalist and he donned the ghost face mask. You've never heard of Jerry Cotton Weary?
God, you were just.
I am reborn.
What is the opposite of on fire?
I believe it's called a cold wallet.
I'll give you that.
Stupid.
So, also, God, it's just, I will say, anytime I try to watch some sort of cryptocurrency documentary, like HBO had a thing, it was like Crypto Bros. I couldn't last
Fuck
5
yeah.
minutes in that thing. There's no Crypto Bros per se on this. These are sad, lonely individuals
Hell yeah.
that lost all their money.
It's Randy and his
My
buddies.
people.
One of which was a very nice Asian guy in San Francisco who transferred $400,000, and then it was his life savings, and it all got taken up in that because it never transferred, and so he lost all his money. But they bring in a guy who prefers to be anonymous, and they all start being their own detectives in this scenario through a Reddit thread. So it's this gang of community of these crypto idiots trying to figure out what's going on. And one guy is sort of the leader of the pack, and he prefers to remain anonymous. And so his voice is modulated in the film, and he is wearing this pixelated wolf head that just he looks like he should be headlining Coachella, to be honest. He also has a very strong Australian accent. So I'm partly thinking, is that part of the modulation?
Wow, dude. He went from laughable to terrifying. That Australian accent, it made me scared. I'm not joking.
Yeah, look, this is an interesting story, but there's no answers. And so it's just, the whole film just kind of seemed pointless to me. You could have done this a 60-minute, 20-minute little thing and wrapped it up, and yeah, not great.
It's about the journey, not the destination, dude.
All right.
Randy nodded. I know
Generally, I would agree, but it sounds boring.
A man breaks into a tech billionaire's empty vacation home.
Oh my God.
But things go sideways when the arrogant mogul and his wife arrive for a last-minute getaway. This is Charlie McDowell's Windfall. Also available on your Netflix application. Here's the thing about Windfall. Now, Randy, Michael, you've also seen this motion picture?
Been a couple weeks, but yeah.
It is the definition of meh. Here's the thing. Small cast. 4 people. We've got 4 people in this film. One centralized location, although it's a pretty big, villa that we're dealing with here. So, I think outside we may have multiple locations, but the illusion is that we are all at one location here, and we are, I would say 85% of the time we're inside the house. I like that. I like limited storytelling, high concept, give it to me. Also, what's the word I want to say? Not tone, but they're going for a sort of noir-like aesthetic with this. Wouldn't you say, Randy?
Kind of Hitchcocky. Yeah.
Yes.
Like even the score sounds kind of like Bernard Herrmann a little bit.
The score and the title sequence.
Yeah.
And just how they bring up the graphics, because again, you get the entire credits at the beginning of the film, and we have like a static shot of a house in the background. And if you were to see this in black and white, you would think it's a Hitchcock. You would think it's a thriller from the 40s. And I like that. I do like that. And I like that, that kind of sends a cue to the viewer that we're occupying a different plane here. And I think when we introduce, that familiarity with like 40s types of thrillers, I think that can kind of, set off some interest in many viewers' heads. But it always takes me out when we do that. But then, it's filth mouth. You know what I mean? That's the thing. It always takes me out every single time. And it's the same thing with like Netflix comedies, like Space Force, for example. Space Force it's a shitty version of Parks and Rec or a shitty version of The Office, but with F-bombs. And it just seems wrong.
I get it.
It just seems forced. And I don't like it. And so when we try to, queue up a film like this and, we're dropping F-bombs, it just seems foreign and odd because, we didn't curse in the 40s. So I don't know. That's just a weird me thing, I think. But
I don't know. I think that's the comedian in you. I think a lot of swearing kind of is indicative of not that great of writing.
it's a crutch.
Yeah,
It's a crutch.
exactly.
And let me tell you something. I'm fucking Tiny Tim.
Hey, also, again, my favorite thing to do is to scroll through IMDb while you're talking about the film. You completely nailed it. The way that everything is shot in this movie, it's got that kind of like Polanski, Hitchcock vibe where it feels like every character is paranoid. Like I haven't heard one moment of audio in this, but I can tell they don't have a great relationship going on here.
The acting is great. Jason Segel is a very interesting actor, and I frankly think he's a very interesting person. I don't know. I think he'd be exhausting if I knew him in real life, but I just think he was a good choice in this because he's a giant, but he has a very strong sort of. Jason Segel's got some feminine energy. I don't think that's a bad thing to say. I think I have a lot of feminine energy in a certain aspect.
You got to find the balance, baby.
But I think that his persona and his physicality are on different planes here. So he breaks into this house, and he's just chilling in the house. And then they show up at the house, and he's not expecting them to be at the house. So as he is almost out the door, the wife sees him, and then we got a hostage situation. And it gets to the point where Jesse Plemons plays the husband, who is a very wealthy tech mogul. And again, of course, we get into the scenario of like, oh, you're a bad man because of what you do and how you make money and yada, yada, yada. And you tear down businesses, and then he's got his defense and so on and so forth. So, of course, we got to, engage in that tango of moral aptitudes. But, again, it's not too terribly interesting.
Wait, really? You don't like having conversations about tech destroying small companies and long stretches of films that are probably otherwise very good, and then you get to sit there and learn a lot and live your life differently, having heard these great and eloquent discussions?
Just watch Rope instead.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I'm so tired of that conversation. Like, I mean, dude, we live in the Bay Area, and I'm sick of people bitching about tech people. It's like they're there. They suck. I mean, they kind of reap what they sow in that department. I don't see any of these fools having great relationships or, they're smiling, they're doing yoga and stuff, but it's fucking hollow, baby.
And also, I don't trust off-camera kills.
Oh, no, you never do. You're a horror fan. You know better.
I know. And we had that here. And
don't spoil. Don't taint these waters yet.
I can't trust it.
Also, warning to anybody who likes flipping through IMDb. There's 72 photos for Windfall. Around 50, we started getting into territory where I'm like, okay, I need to stop looking at these. I feel like I've watched part of the movie. Yeah, I see you flipping through it, Clark, don't you?
Yeah, but I mean, it's fine.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't need to know it. And you're right, dude. The title, the font, the framing, it all is very like, what was that terrible movie from that guy whose name I can never remember? He directed Desperado. He lives in Austin.
Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, didn't he do some like 4 Nights at the El Diablo or something? And it's like that hotel movie where it was
4 Rooms?
no, not 4 Rooms.
No. It's. I don't think Robert Rodriguez had anything to do with that movie.
It felt like it.
It was Drew Goddard, the director of Cabin in the Woods. Did
Oh,
El Royale? What was it?
dude, that was the Cabin in the Woods guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also,
And
that movie stinks.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I love Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, dude, there's a steelbook that just is coming out on Tuesday. I know this because of Blu-ray Tuesday. Y'all should watch that. It's fucking beautiful. It's got a little spoiler on it, but it's Cabin in the Woods. I want that thing so bad. The El Royale, though, I would think a dude like him who plays with like genre tropes would do something good. But aesthetically, I'm getting similar vibes where that El Royale's like, hey, a bunch of interesting characters are going to show up here and we're going to be with them in one building and it's going to get fucking crazy. And like, I'm getting that vibe from Windfall. But I don't know. I imagine a lot longer takes, better acting, more interesting storytelling in Windfall.
Yeah.
For a bit.
I didn't care for where it went, really.
What happened? Was it just contrived?
Yeah. 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 It's just tired.
Beautiful location, though. I think it was shot in Ojai, California.
No, I looked it up. It's Phoenix, Arizona, the birthplace of renewal.
Yesterday, we talked to our guest, who you will hear on Thursday, the great Gerald Varga. And in that conversation, we kickstart our talk with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. As Gerald later in the interview says that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is his Star Wars, as it's one of his favorite horror franchises of all time. And we talked to him a good bit about the newest iteration of the franchise. But we also talk about just kind of softly ranking our choices. And again, all this Texas Chainsaw talk kind of got me a little inspired to catch up on a installation of the franchise, which I have not seen. And this is supposedly one Russell Fisher's favorites.
Yeah.
Maybe his favorite is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation from 1994. Now, Russ, before I get into it and before I give my thoughts on this, just kind of explain, again, this is a strange franchise, right?
Yeah.
There's really no central. Leatherface changes from movie to movie, essentially.
Yeah.
Right? Especially in this one. And I'll get into this a little bit more. But very strange franchise that is just all over the place. And again, I love it as well, but honestly, from film to film, you really don't know what you're going to get. And
it's kind of akin to fucking damn it, I had it. No, I lost it. There's like 2 different types. Like with Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th, they always tried to stay in the lane, even though you had different writers and directors who clearly weren't that interested in keeping the lore tight. But with Texas Chainsaw, you're kind of in between those well put together franchises and like Halloween, where in Halloween, it felt like it was constantly being pulled different directions. It was shut down, restart, reinvented. And then if you want to watch a weird franchise, go into Hellraiser, because you have the character doesn't change until way later on, but every story after like 3 completely different. It's almost like a TV show where they're episodic.
Are all the Hellraisers horny as the first one?
No, they kind of like go in and out. I will say Texas Chainsaw Next Generation is a big part of why I love it is nostalgia. Again, when we talked to Gerald, I mentioned how it's kind of the first time I heard the Illuminati appear as like a character motivation. But also, it's a great example of horror films and how they have early great talent, like Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
But if I'm being completely honest, again, it was in the black box era. I was able to watch this movie on pay-per-view channels over and over and over. And I would always try and time it when we would get a character inappropriately flashing kids who are throwing shit at her house. I still don't understand how that's a punishment. I feel like if I was a little kid throwing rocks at somebody and then they would just flash me every time I did it, I would come back. So yeah, I'm my rating may be a little tainted, but I do love this film.
Matthew McConaughey goes full McConaughey.
I'm so excited to hear you run through this.
You know, and this is 94 Matthew
94.
McConaughey. So
Yep.
was this before his big break in A Time to Kill? A Time to Kill is what? Yeah, 96. So this is 94 McConaughey. Here's what we'd known about Matthew McConaughey: Dazed and Confused, and that's it.
Yeah.
So this is really, he was also played guy number 2 in My Boyfriend's Back. But, you know, a memorable character in Dazed and Confused. Then we've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. Also this same year, Angels in the Outfield, we saw him.
Hell
and
yeah.
then a couple years later, then, you know, he starts to kick things off with A Time to Kill, and then Contact and Amistad, and he's on his way. So the thing is, I think that's great, because at that time he had not been typecast, because he's just looking to get cast at this point. And McConaughey has always been McConaughey. And I think that, you know, to get a little bit of this early point in his career to where he is completely unhinged, he is just going with it. He has a mechanical leg that he operates with 3 different TV remotes. It's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Hell yeah.
The Illuminati thing is also strange, because he shows up in a tow truck, kills some teenagers, and then on the side of his truck it just says Illuminati. And then they don't talk about it until the 3rd act.
Yep.
And then they're like, what?
But see, now, like looking back, it's weird. At the time, like when you're kind of like flirting with conspiracy theories, it's like, wait, what the fuck? Illuminati? And then when they don't talk about it, it almost reinforces it. Like, oh shit, they snuck it in there.
Russell, this movie is a mess.
Oh yeah, I know. It's great though. Dude, it's also got one of the living, like, you know how people are always like, oh, slashers teleport. And dude, go back to Friday the 13th. He doesn't fucking teleport until number 6, which is the one I fucking hate. But it almost felt like somebody was making that movie in a mean way, like they didn't want to make it. Anyway, there's too much comedy in that one. I know all of you fucking love that movie too. Whatever. In this film, there's literally one of my favorite moments, which used to drive me crazy when I first watched it, where we have a chase scene between a girl running through the woods and a truck. And if she turns left or right, she becomes surrounded by trees and completely safe from the truck. Yet she chooses to run down the straight path. It is aggravating. And I've come, dude, I think about that every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, it's
Stay off the road,
ridiculous.
dude.
She's literally running straight. It's like, go make any kind of turn and you're safe. But, you know.
Here's the thing with Leatherface in this one. I think throughout the franchise, we do get different versions of Leatherface. There's always a sense, the constant theme of what we have with Leatherface is that he is, for lack of a better term, underdeveloped.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where he basically is just a giant attack dog.
Yeah.
But I think that we have different levels of fear associated with Leatherface. And in this particular iteration of Leatherface, he is not terrifying at all.
No.
The mask is my least favorite Leatherface mask. I think it's the least it's the least interesting mask, because there are no sort of, you know, sewn marks together. It is just a straight white mask that he is wearing makeup, and he's wearing dresses throughout the film. So you know, he is more effeminate here, but it's not in a terribly interesting way. It's just a different version of Leatherface, where McConaughey's the bad guy and Leatherface is just his, you know, pit bull.
Yeah.
running around doing the heavy work because he has a mechanical leg, and he's hitting a woman for 45 minutes of this movie.
Well, it's interesting because a movie like this, which is kind of an island in the ocean of this franchise, it can still have an effect. Like it can change the thing in ways. And when I watched this when I was little, it confused me because I'm like, oh, is Leatherface always like a dude who is kind of going through something where he wants to dress up like a girl? And it kind of changed the way I looked at other Texas Chainsaw Massacres too, where it almost felt like they knew something about the creation of the character that isn't articulated in others. And I think this is one of the things that a lot of horror fans get caught up on now in our modern era, where they look at this as being like transphobic. And I'm like, I don't think the message here is that the dude is insane, so he's confused about his gender. I think it's the idea that slashers are men who are like run amok, and he's kind of playing out his sexual fantasies in a weird reality that's like, I guess he's being gaslit by fucking Matthew McConaughey in his remote control chair. But I don't know. I think movies like this can be a lot more interesting, but I'm curious if people have like panned this one or been like, oh, don't watch it. Because honestly, my favorite thing about this is the original poster where the chainsaw is like a lipstick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what beautiful art.
Well,
Like,
that opens up the film and it ties together. But
I mean, we're talking about masculinity and femininity. That's the balance right there. A fucking lipstick chainsaw. That's perfect. Randy's like, what
should I not talk about?
Oh, wait, hold on. Are you worried about spoiling this movie?
I don't know. You guys have different rules for different things.
Of all the goddamn things you're worried about, no, I would say go for it.
One of the lamest deaths I've ever seen in a movie, where McConaughey, I guess, dies from a helicopter that flied too close to him. Also, it was
Dude,
awful.
Dude, Clark, I got to tell you, there's a horror director. He's pretty famous. There's a tragedy on set with the helicopter. So really, we shouldn't be talking about that.
This was not a Vic Morrow situation.
You got to learn how to edit yourself, dude.
Yeah, I two is still by far my favorite of the sequels.
Oh, weird. I forgot you like two.
Who doesn't like two?
Dude, one of my favorite scenes in cinema history is the bridge where they're playing like Oingo Boingo.
Come on.
Dude, it's fucking incredible. And it's one of those great examples of like stretching time where like, they always talk about Spielberg and Indiana Jones doing it. But in that movie, that bridge is endless. You're just on it forever. Randy, have you ever seen part two?
I've seen two. I've seen 1, 2, and the newest one.
That's right. And
you
you
never saw
love
the Jessica Biel?
No,
Dude,
the one that just came out.
I like that one. I like the 2003.
I love it when people champion like the weird early 2000 era film. Like I love My Bloody Valentine, the 3D one.
That was also good.
Non-ironic, dude, that movie fucking rules. So whenever you bring up the Jessica Biel, I don't know, I get happy.
Also, I will say though, absolutely one of the best things about this, Renee Zellweger is great.
Oh yeah, she's good.
She's really, I mean, truly, it may be the best thing I've ever seen her in. Before we get into this Bridget Jones bullshit, she's great. And honestly, you could have carried her further in the franchise because she was a great Survivor girl and did a really, really, really good job.
Well, dude, fucking, I don't know. One of my favorite things about horror movies is, finding new talent like Kevin Bacon or like John Depp. You know what I mean? They all like come out of here.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. Weird. That's a thing that,
Devin Sawa.
Of course, Devin. Dude, what's he been up to since he got ripped and was fucking around with our boy?
He's in a newish movie with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I didn't love Hunter x Hunter though. Hunter. Dude, okay, so what are you going to give this star rating wise? I have to know. I need to pinpoint where you're at. I feel like you might go a 3.
3.
The dreaded 3. I get it though.
I will say though, look, see this in a theater, the crowd may be bumped up to a 3.5.
Yeah.
It's, that's the unfair nature of the world. Seeing movies in a theater can certainly help. But 2 by far is more entertaining from my end of things.
Well, 2 is fucking the 80s one, man.
Well, two is my favorite. I mean, maybe just from the scene where Dennis Hopper is trying to buy a chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Love
come
it.
on.
The
It's
2 little chainsaws is one of the, but I mean, here's the thing. When I watch horror films, I want that. Like, we already know the beats, we know the tropes. Like, how do we evolve them? And when Dennis Hopper buys a giant chainsaw where the dude selling it to him is trying to talk him out of it, and then he buys 2 little ones and carries them like guns, dude, that is peak like horror filmmaking. I love it, dude. I'm on a Dennis Hopper kick. We should go back to back with that when you come back. We'll go Texas Chainsaw 2 and then that blue movie Randy was talking about. What the hell's the name of it? Out of the Blue. Yeah. Out of the Blue and Texas Chainsaw 2.
All right, now I'm gonna hand over the film talk to Russell John the Fisherman, but I do think that we have all seen this film. Is that correct, Randy?
Yeah, I fell asleep during the last like 10 minutes, but yeah, other than that, I've seen it.
Well, Randy, it's funny. You only had 2 options here. Yes, you had seen it, or no, you hadn't seen it.
True.
You have to pick one or you die.
Yes, I've seen it.
All right, then somebody starts bleeding out their eyeball or something.
I also did a good tweet about it.
Oh, you did?
I liked said tweet. It was a good tweet.
Oh my God. Why are you all on Twitter? I can't
because we all hung out in a coffee shop called Poopies up on the strip.
I feel like Twitter is like a bad neighborhood, and I'm driving down the road and it's like I got to go through here, but if I look left or right, I'm going to get pulled into some argument or something, and I don't need the politics. Again, if you've been following me in my life, I have been doing a great job of filtering out politics. And honestly, I feel so much better. Like, fuck it. I don't care. Fucking nuke the world.
You know what's weird about that Poopies account is
Okay, go ahead.
How drastically different the views are on each video.
Yeah. He tweets it out like once an hour.
One of them has over 1,300 views. Why?
And then the next one has like 5?
No, they're always over 100, I think.
That's weirder to me.
Yeah, because I just keep it on there and I keep the counts rolling.
Okay, the poopy views.
We all
Anyway.
hung out on a coffee shop called Poopies up on the strip.
Anyway, when we were hanging out on Friday and we were trying to figure out what that weird text from Thomas's phone was, Terrell came over and we watched it together, and he was telling me he couldn't stop ranting about this movie he loved called Choose or Die on Netflix.
Oh boy.
And I was like, you know what? I need to I want to watch new shit. And I had no idea what it was. I knew I hated the title. And then we pulled it up one night and jumped into it. And I'll just cut to the chase right here. Man, I really enjoyed it. And yesterday we were going to record this portion of the show, the Tuesday show. And Clark he sniffed it out that I had watched it. And he went, oh no. So I'm guessing you didn't enjoy it.
I need to preface the conversation with the following. The room that I am occupying here actually, I don't want to
Okay.
myself.
What room number is that?
At this hotel. Great room. They give me the best room. However, the TV in here is terrible. The TV is very, very dark.
Oh.
And sometimes it will proceed to get darker. But if you turn the volume up, then the illumination in the TV spikes up. It's very strange.
Huh.
It's on its last legs, and it's tough. And also, it's tough to watch horror films with a lowly lit television.
Yeah.
And there were parts of this where I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. So that played a part in it.
I got you.
Did it play a big enough part to where it would change my viewpoint on the film? Probably not. Here's the thing. I think this is a beautiful idea. I am in love with the idea of this. Also, I mean, I think it's a home run to name a game like this called Cursor.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I here's why I'm frustrated with the film is because I think that it could have been so much better than what was brought to the table for me. It just I I need some sort of comedic element. I didn't feel like that was there. I feel like you waste a talent like Eddie Marsan, and I don't really understand why that was tied together. When at the end where he was
Okay, hold on. Let me go through this a little bit and then jump in here as I hit things. So with IMDb, the synopsis we got is after firing up a lost 80s survival horror game, which I think this is me now. I think that's a bad description already. A young coder unleashes a hidden curse that tears reality apart, forcing her to make a terrifying decision and face deadly consequences. This is kind of like a found footage video game movie in concept, not in execution. We've taken the idea of like, oh, mom and dad have a VHS tape and I popped it in and I didn't want to see that. Where this game's kind of like, I don't know, it's like it's almost like a mud. It's like an old, like floppy disk kind of game. And, people will know more about this when we get more into UF5, the digital, the online one. But man, I thought there was a missed opportunity to play around with the medium here. Like I wanted to see somebody load up a floppy disk with this on it. I was actually kind of confused. Okay, let me go back more. We're doing a little bit of a Candisha thing here, where we have a young female protagonist who is on the poverty line. Now, she's definitely below it. And she's a well-to-do trying to take care of her mom, and she's struggling. Also, she knows coding. I wanted to like reach through the screen and be like, hey, can you teach me? Because I don't know how you taught yourself. Like clearly they've done a great job here of showing that there are rats running amok in your apartment. But somehow you have cool equipment in your room and you're very, I don't know, maybe she was taking advantage of her not boyfriend and he had taught her. But my main complaint with this film is the social messaging. I think they're trying to tackle a little bit of coming to grips with 80s horror films. Like, how in Texas Chainsaw, I mean, that's a 94 film, but kind of like them dealing with a cross-dresser. And now looking back, we're like, is this okay? Like, I used to like that movie, but I don't know if I can watch it. We're doing a lot of that in this film, or not really. It's the subtext. But the casting of her bully, like landlord, what was that guy?
Drug dealer?
Dude, he was like a drug dealer, but he was also like the maintenance man. Well, I don't know.
He wasn't the landlord, but he was just he was the candy man, dude.
Dude, I didn't buy him for a fucking second.
Oh yeah.
I was like, you're not intimidating. I feel like if you were in a real project, you would have been run out like within a week. People would have saw through your shit and you would have been gone.
Also, who stores syringes like that?
Okay, you're jumping ahead a little bit.
I'm just saying.
But I'm just like, I love this movie. I really, really liked it. And there are little things like that. Like, I'm going to be splitting hairs here. But as far as the video game, I really enjoyed the interface. I love the idea of the reoccurring thing. Like, I love when horror films put the rules out there for you. Like when they talk about, hey, we're going to play with the Ouija board. Here are the rules. And then they, you do that narratively so that you can break them and that the audience can be on your side. And they do a really good job of setting up what this thing is and kind of right off the bat showing that we're going to be breaking, rules of reality and anything can go. And we're doing a little bit of like a Final Destination thing here where, the questions are, do you want to take a break? And you're like, yeah, because that sounds like a good thing, I guess. And then, there's a twist to it where it's kind of Monkey Paw, maybe more than Final Destination. And I loved watching it play out. I also loved how Robert Englund is a part of this film, yet he's not a part of this film. And I think whenever you get a name like that, like I bring this up all the fucking time, when you attach a fucking Tony Todd, that's a warning sign. If he's on the cover and he's looking cool, then I'm talking to you now, Tubi. Tubi had a movie called Hell, what is it called? Hell Blazer or something. And Tony Todd's on the cover. You start up that movie. It's a Tubi original, by the way. He's in it for less than 5 minutes. And and then you can only be mad at yourself. You're like, if Tony Todd was a get and he's the one that brought me in here, then I need to reevaluate my life.
Well, he's got a mortgage.
Well, I get it, but he got paid. I'm like, if you're showing up to see Tony Todd now, it's not going to pay off. And with this one, they mention Robert Englund, but they don't put him on a pedestal. He's not on the cover of this movie. And honestly, it added a lot of authenticity to the story. I thought it was fucking cool that they got like the voice of Freddy Krueger to like, promote this shitty game that you never heard of. And it's not like he appears on screen and he's the old man warning you, going, "You don't play this game." The harbinger. Yeah, and he's like shackled to a wall somewhere, and he's like, "Oh, I've been held here prisoner for 40 years," and then dies or something. No, I thought there was a lot of great storytelling. My problem's a little bit with the third act. So, you know what? I'm gonna do something we never do on the show.
My problem is the movie opening.
Well, hold on.
We're pulling punches early.
Hey, we love you. I want to spoil this movie, though. I don't want to have any filters while talking about it. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it and come back. That's enough time. So let's go ahead. Take the kid gloves off, Clark.
The beginning of the movie, we're cutting corners. Because think about the first action scene that happens here. You got Eddie Marsden, who I love. Great British actor.
We're talking about him and his family.
Yes, him and his family. Okay. And he is a collector, as we learn. And his son and his wife clearly hate him. As they are talking shit about him. He's like, he's stuck in the 80s. He's stuck in the 80s. Also, the end where he's like, fuck the 80s. That was great.
Oh, my God.
But so in the game prompts you. It gives you choices. Heads up, the choices aren't good either way.
They're never good.
And it says choose or die. And in this particular case, I think it says her ears or his tongue.
Yeah.
And then he chooses his tongue. And that
hold on.
He didn't choose anything.
Okay, well, something chose his tongue. Because then we cut to, he goes to the kitchen and the wife has cut the son's tongue. I'm like, wait, we can't see the tongue. We can't see the tongue getting cut.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a little bit of theater of the mind.
It set a bad tone for me. I was like, oh, is this what we're doing? Everything's off screen now.
Hold on. Well, let me push back on that, because when we go to the third act, the beginning of the third act, we get a beautiful shot. Also, I want to mention it's in-world camera when we pop in that VHS tape. And the guy who's like chewing up the scenery in this moment takes a knife and he stabs himself in the forearm. Do you remember that?
Sure.
That was the complete opposite of what you're talking about, where we get a lot of on-camera gore. It's brightly lit, and I thought it looked like great.
CG.
It was CG, but I mean, it was on a VHS tape, and we're talking about occult symbols that are used to program a video game. I feel like the immersion here was waning anyway. Well, let me talk about one of my favorite parts of this. Yeah. The second iteration of the game, where we hear a phone call from our protagonist's apartment as her mom's calling her, and we get a like Game Boy layout of like her mom trapped in a room and a giant rat going through her apartment.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved it. It's like, talk about like, I mean, I don't think they were navigating limitations here because they clearly had money in this movie, but just, it's the Jaws thing.
Did they?
They definitely had some sort of budget.
Yeah, but I think they burned it in certain areas. Like
that might be, yeah.
The diner scene was good.
Yep. Well, they rented out that vacant apartment or that, corporate building floor.
Yeah.
But like this moment, it's, everybody talks about Spielberg and how Jaws only worked because they had to cut so much of that fucking shark. And then, they always talk about, oh, less is more, less is more. In this, you kind of got your cake and could eat it too, because we got to watch the action play out with the audio. And dude, it enhanced it so much for me. Like, you get to follow along visually, but you have to like paint the picture in your head. Like, I love how they never even showed the rat. And I should mention, when Terrell, the thing that sold me on this movie was he flipped out because I was watching meme videos, which Clark also fucking hates when I do. And one of them had a fake rat that somebody had tied a string to in the bottom of a pizza box. So when people came up to open it, it looked like a rat was jumping out at him. And Terrell, who's deathly afraid of rodents, got very angry and was like, no, fuck this. I already seen enough rats today. And I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And he's like, in that fucking movie, they already put me through that rat shit. I'm tired of this. There's crazy ass rats in the apartment. And I'm like, whoa, okay. I got to watch that. And then me and Oksana were sitting there. We watched that beautiful chase scene happen in 8-bit form. And I was like, was this the rat thing he was talking about?
You know, there was 3 seconds of a rat walking down the hall before it. And I was like, maybe it was that.
That's how you do fucking Chekhov. You put a little rat there. It looks like B-roll. And then when you get it, you're like, oh, they were already laying the groundwork. Dude, there's a lot of really smart filmmaking in here. Randy, what did you think of that, Randy, that kill?
That was probably my favorite part. I like the video game stuff, like how the software looked, but I really didn't care for any of the character development. Oh. The main character, her stuff just felt like poverty porn. Like, oh, there's a crack pipe that was just smoked. There's rats in the building.
Dude, and thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. I love the movie Hugo, Asa Butterfield or whatever. He's not great in this.
They give him nothing to do.
Yeah, I literally felt like I liked the video game sequences when there was kills and stuff happening, and then everything in between felt completely like it just went in one ear and out the other. I like don't remember anything else.
Dude, it's funny because you know how I always talk about like I can't pull an actor and I don't ever remember their names.
Yeah.
The fact that you both named people, like, dude, if I had known who was the guy you talked about originally, Clark? Eddie Marsan?
Yeah.
I don't know him.
He's great. He was in Feedback.
Okay, yeah, but I don't, it doesn't like sink in. And I wonder if maybe I've evolved in such a way to enhance horror films, because if it opened up and I knew like that's an actor, then I wouldn't have been shocked when he came back at the end. And I was.
But when you watch, that face is not recognizable to you?
No. I had no idea who he was. I thought he was a nobody.
You have face blindness.
I do. There's something going on. And like, who's Isaiah? Who did you mention, Randy?
Asa Butterfield.
Asa, who's that?
He's in Hugo, Martin Scorsese's Hugo, which is a good kids movie.
Okay, you were wrong too. I hope people heard.
Wasn't he also in Ender's Game?
He was in Ender's Game, which I never saw.
Yeah, those are big movies. So when you get somebody like that, it like, you know, I think that's why we get like a Matthew McConaughey in Texas Chainsaw, and then when they come back, it's a completely different thing because you're trying to get unidentified or, you know, just regular people. Man, I don't know. Maybe I experienced this movie in a very different way then. But Randy, you're totally right. Poverty porn. Did you make that up?
No, I've heard it before. People use it to describe a lot of like foreign art housey movies that are just like, they relish in like the misery and stuff of like poor people sometimes.
Well, it's also like when you're a director who's accomplished and then you do that like novelist thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to go live in the ghetto for a year.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Sean Penn?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, honestly, yeah. But no, you're totally right because, you know, I mentioned Candisha off top and I was thinking more aesthetically. Yeah. But honestly, in Candisha, you have families that are working. Like they don't have any money, but they still like love each other. And in this movie, you don't get any of that. Like even her buddy, it's like, where are his parents? How old are they? Like, did any of you ever wonder like what age were our protagonists in this film?
No clue.
Yeah.
Teenagers? Late teenage?
Yeah, I don't know. Also, Clark, I feel you on the dialogue. Like the fucking, that's our song. And she's like, what? You think you showed me Run DMC? Now, is that just because we're old?
Probably.
Like, do you think children are like, oh, what's Run DMC? Like, I mean, I guess they'd have to.
I have no idea.
I don't know. But again, the thing that, the real hair that I want to split is at the end of the movie, here, let me do it this way. What did you think about the fight scene at the end?
I didn't have any problems with it.
What do you think they were articulating there?
I think it was a pro-suicide film.
I did notice when we turned it on the second time that there was a warning that said self-harm. That was like the first one. And I hadn't gotten far enough into the film to understand why.
Well, if I'm honest, I thought it was a pretty inventive way to end that scenario. I don't know if I'd seen that before.
Well, okay. So maybe I was too in my head here, but what I saw was two horror characters going toe to toe over who can be like the saint, the patron saint of this cursed like ROM. And the thing that struck me was the guy going, "Why can't I be the hero anymore?" And I'm like, all right. Are we doing some white guilt bullshit? Yeah. But I honestly, I think he was supposed to represent the 80s. And it's kind of like all the movies from my era, you know, they featured me. And just like Texas Chainsaw earlier, it's like, well, you know, we have our new protagonist. And she's like, it ain't like that anymore. Except the combat they engaged in was self-harm. So I'm like, are they making a commentary over like who is king victim here? Because they're both kind of coming from different areas where they're like, I'm more oppressed, or like I'm the victim. And he's like, you know, you've reappropriated my genre.
Or time has passed me by and I just want to say that I'm still here.
Yeah. And
sort of thing.
If you want to like break those characters down, like if you're the type of person that looks at humans by like gender, skin tone, like all these things, right? Like our new protagonist is the kind we like now in the modern area. Like she's a female POC and she's young. And that's where I got tripped up. It kind of bummed me out that no matter where we are in time, we hate old people. And I'm like, dude, it's like he's an old white dude. And I'm like, okay, the white guy thing, whatever. Like we're living through that. It kind of like, and let me just speak frankly, because I never hear anybody say that. It kind of sucks when you're a white dude and you're like, all right, I guess I'm the villain again here. Even though in no world would I ever sympathize with that dude, not because of how he looks or his gender, but just because he clearly fucking sucked. He had a terrible, like as a representation of the nuclear family, it clearly wasn't working for him.
Yeah.
And as a dude who's a materialist because I love metal and horror, him being a collector, I'm air quoting now, I was like, I feel like this is a personal shot at me.
Yeah, but dude, he's got like 10 minutes of screen time.
I know. And that's the other thing is he's like a straw man. They've just created this argument to knock him down.
Yeah, it's just vapid. There was nothing there.
But, you know, if we want to explore that idea of like the 80s don't have to be that anymore, I don't know if we came to a good conclusion because at the end they both kill themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, are we doing a little commentary on like discourse online? But yeah, I don't know. What happened to Randy?
I don't know. We're still recording.
Okay, well, let's just keep it going, hopefully. Yeah, I don't know. I hate it whenever I fall into a mind trap like that, though, because I'm like, is it constructive to like think like this? And, you know, for film theory, I guess. But ultimately, I did really like this film. And it's because it felt like a fucking Goosebumps show to me. Like it was campy and goofy and it looked really pretty. I love the green tone to everything visually. I love the way the video game looked. But at the end of the day, it felt kind of like a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just not a whole lot of steak. Just a little sizzle.
Honestly,
not enough sizzle.
If I'm being completely honest, I think Randy heard it for me by calling it fucking poverty porn. I think you nailed it. I really do. You fucking heard it for me because you're right. It's so interested in kind of making this point that it's offensive without noticing.
It's like, I mean, you wanted that element in your movie, but you took the shortcut to get there.
And it's like Terry Gilliam poverty. Like the walls, like the paint is peeling. There's a fucking crack pipe in the foreground. Rats are running amok. Like when she's being harassed by a literal giant rat straight out of fucking Princess Bride. No neighbors come to check on her.
There's a sink of syringes where the needles are pointed up.
Well, again, so the only reason I want to push back on that with you is because the game made it happen. Like, right? Isn't the game like all these
That's what I figured. I don't think he actually stored them that way.
all the Easter Island heads that have been changed into occult symbols and put into this video game use their black magic power to point all of the building syringes straight up into that sink.
All I'm saying is that if there's going to be syringe death, then Billy needs to be there on a tricycle.
I'm 100% with you. I was like, Saw 2 did it better.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. My problem with that kill was when the ultimate evil old white guy was behind the game, he gave you an out. He was like early Saw, where the idea was you need to learn to like live life and like respect it. Where when our new protagonist, our young female POC's behind the wheel, you're just dead. There was no way out of that. That guy just died. And there's the ultimate last scene where we meet the tech guru who people still can't find his body in the documentary Clark watched.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, that whole conversation was weird because she had such this like fervor of like, when I'm running this game, only the people that deserve to die are going to die. And I'm like, oh, you're the exact same problem as the other dude.
100%.
I'm like, nothing changed. You learned nothing, and now you are a villain, although you have like social clout backing you up.
Isn't it worse?
Yeah, it's worse.
Because like he just copied the game and released it. She's like, no, I'm going to target people.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to cancel the evil people. Watch out, Clark. They're coming for the comedians, dude.
No, 100%. I mean, yeah. Like, how do you think the 14-year-olds that watch this are going to process the end of that movie?
Honestly, I think I was looking way too into it, but I kind of this movie captured my imagination, so I couldn't help it. But I don't know. Like for a minute, I was thinking a lot about what it meant that she saved her friend over her brother.
No, but I think that the packaging of this thing is that she is the hero. And people are going to come out of this being optimistic, but based off everything that you just said, it was also how I felt in the movie. It's not.
Yeah, she's not the hero.
No.
But check this out too. So if you're going to operate from a place of trauma with her, right, which gives her heroic ability, her choosing her friend over her brother gives you an insight because clearly she's over her trauma. She's worked it out and she realized this is just a ghost and it won't bring him back. Where I think if you're an actual like corrupted soul or like you're really caught up in this terrible thing, I feel like I would have wrote that character to go for her brother and like, fuck my friend who's real and helping me. I can't get past this moment, but she is past it. Also, she chose to drown herself, which was kind of this weird martyrdom, which is the way that her brother died. So there's a mixed message going on in here. Why Oksana's giving me that look?
I think you're thinking about it more than like
okay, why would you try and pull some Beetlejuice looking avant-garde statue all the way to the edge of the pool and then dump it on yourself? That is such a like laborious way to kill yourself in that situation. They had to be making a message out of that. Her brother drowned.
I think that was intentional, but I think the rationale.
Here's the thing. On this show, we talk to a lot of directors, but I'm always like, are we fucking up? Should we be talking to the writers? Because I bet who wrote this movie? I bet if we got in, it's like 48 people on Netflix.
I believe Paul Schrader.
Dude, but I know they had to be thinking about that at least a little bit. That would be a weird accident. All right, everybody's looking at me like I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah, because you're spending a lot of time talking about a 2.5-star movie.
I also didn't make it to the ending, so I have nothing to say.
God damn it. Randy, watch the ending. Although now I feel like I've kind of tainted it.
I'll go back. I didn't go into this not wanting to like it. I watched this after Lux Æterna last night, so it was dark. It looked good on the TV. I had a beer in hand, and then I don't know, 20 minutes in, I was like, eh.
Well, here's the thing: if you liked it aesthetically, like if you like that like neon green that like prevailed throughout this film, watch episode 1 of Fear Street. Because that first one is kind of like a hyper slasher, and it's really good. Again, that is a 3-part movie basically, but just watch the first one. They really nail that like modern neon tone. Yeah, I honestly, this is a lot like Fear Street. So if people enjoyed that on Netflix, check out Choose or Die. Again, I think I'm at 4 with it. I would totally buy it. So Stinky Tuna, shout out to Stinky Tuna. Please let us buy movies from you. For some reason, you're rejecting us. We're true ones. We only steal from Can. It's a new segment called Randy Kicks the Can. And we don't pirate anybody else, but you do. And you print out beautiful Blu-rays from Netflix. And I want to own this one. So please shout out Stinky Tuna. Get me in.
You got to fill out an application.
I'm not joking.
That they'll never reply to.
So anybody out there who likes to buy bootlegs, Stinky Tuna is a website. If you want to fill out an application so that they can vet you, I believe you have to include your Instagram too, right?
Mm-hmm.
They literally vet your social media and will reject you if they deem you unfit.
Cancel culture, dude.
All right. Anything else?
I mean,
any announcements?
I have something.
Oh no.
The floor is yours.
When you brought up Devon Sawa.
Oh shit.
You know what he's in?
Porn.
Death Rider in the House of Vampires.
Oh, he's in the Danzig movie?
Yep.
Oh, Randy. Next week, can we please do a Kick the Can segment where you find the other Can film, Death Riders in the House of Vampires or whatever? I really want to watch that. Dude, they only screened it a couple of times and one of them was in LA. We should have flown out. We should have flown out and watched it. Clark's shaking his head.
I still haven't seen Veronica.
Oh, fuck.
Me neither.
Dude, all right. We got to watch Veronica, dude. There's many a nipple in that movie.
All right, I'm back in.
And I'd rather watch Veronica Mars.
Oh, my God. Veronica Mars?
Veronica Mars.
All right, I'm done.
All right. Thursday, Gerald Varga. Good interview. And rest in power, Gilbert Gottfried. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Overlook Hour. And if you would like to hear more, please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcatcher of choice is. And while you're there, go ahead and give us a rating and or a review, which is a very easy way for you to support this show that we bring to you every week for years now, free of charge. And as always, you can find us on YouTube at The Overlook Theater, Instagram at The Overlook Theater, Facebook at The Overlook Hour, and Twitter at The Overlook Hour. Last but not least, you can send us your emails and tell us how much you like or dislike the show at overlookhour@gmail.com. And if you're nice, maybe we'll read them on the show. I've been your engineer, Randy Stat. Please join me along with Clark, Russell, and Oksana again next time. Bye.